Yes,
sir.
Okay, let's roll some dice in anger. So this is, I was going to say Curse of Strahd then. This is Shadow of the Dragon Queen, Campaign 2, Session 11, Kalaman. So last we finished, you had managed to evacuate Vogler, floated down the Vingard River, and you'd made safe and well on the banks of Kalaman. You'd ventured into the city, you'd secured food, provisions, equipment for houses, tents, everything that the people of Vogler would need. They've not been allowed into the city yet. It's a busy city, it's a full city. But they've been given every resource that's, or what it seems, every resource that's available for Kalaman to spare, despite some minor complications that you managed to circumvent. We kind of finished with the authorities in Vogler saying to you, will you work for us? Darrett agreeing, and he's taken on a role of kind of a liaison, like a handling officer between the higher-ups in Kalaman and you guys. And you've been told to rest, relax, make sure everyone in Vogler's safe, and then return to the city for your first mission. And you've also been offered a wage to work for Kalaman, and lodgings as well, digs at the inside Castle Kalaman itself, when you're ready to go back. So we'll start the session. What we'll say is perhaps a day or two. We'll say 2 days have passed since you've arrived at Kalaman. You've made sure you've been helping out. In fact, we could even stretch that. We could stretch that narrative to at least a week. You've been building shacks. You've been using your combined abilities to help the people of Vogler set up their own establishment, community. Reese has been incredibly helpful. Josh, Micah would have noticed that he's become particularly adept with his divine studies and practice. And he's been offering healing everywhere that he goes, and people are now. He's still. What did we say? Did we say he was 11 or 12? He was young, wasn't he?
Not very old about that.
Yeah, but it's a war-torn world, but he's grown up pretty quick, and people are sort of thanking him and thanking you, obviously. In fact, the people of Vogler refer to you as First Prophet. You're no longer Micah. You are First Prophet.
Come on.
Yeah. So yeah, the rest is up to you. What? Where are we taking the story next, then, gentlemen?
I think
I've got this scroll thing as well. I can't remember. Is it here that I need to hand this scroll in, or is it a completely different town? Because I'm pretty sure there's a guy beginning with a D that I had to speak to. Does anybody else fucking remember?
Yeah.
I tried scrolling through all the things.
This is why, if you put your paintbrush down and grabbed a pencil and a notepad, it might help. It was Wyan in Kalaman.
Why did I get a D from?
I don't know. Well, I could repeat my previous sentence, Lewis, but what's the fucking point? See, Jake, that's not even full hassle. That's only minor hassle.
Okay. I'll give you. I mean, from Hal's perspective, Hal's going to have donned the blue surcoat that was given to him by the military order, because even though he has kind of got allegiances to, I guess, like the Knights of Solamnia at the moment, he's still going to try and protect the people of Vogler, and by joining the military forces, that was part of the agreement. However, he's going to have made some slight customizations. He's going to have roped one of the older ladies in Vogler to do a bit of embroidery on his surcoat, and what you can see now at the moment is like alongside the insignia for Kalaman, it's also got like a rose embroidered into the middle of it.
Nice.
But we need to potentially, I guess, like we've agreed that we'd help train some of the people, train some of the guard to fight the Draconians, and we also agreed that we'd send errands as well, or like we'd do the tasks that the ruling class of Kalaman have asked us to do.
I think it was kind of like was the agreement that essentially we'd like see that the people of Vogler were all like set up and sorted, and then we'd report back, and we were kind of ready. Well, assuming that we were going to agree to.
Yep.
So I guess it's like, but we all decided that we wanted to agree.
I mean, Theron's obviously lost his ring, didn't he?
Mm.
So since he actually stopped having his hissy fit and everything, actually sat down, he opened that book that he was given at the trial. The first time he's actually started reading it and picking stuff up. So he's been practicing bits and bobs in that.
Sure.
And he's trying to get better at that.
And is there a way that we can help Theron do that? Is there anybody that you need to speak to individually that can?
So I think for now he's just kind of like he's reading the book, but he just keep looking at this scroll. And he's like, we really need to go and find this guy that needs this scroll. Or I've been told I need to do this, but I want my ring back. He's like pulls the book and goes, it's got some good stuff in it. Don't mind me, it's great stuff. But I want my ring back. As he like throws the book at the wall and it magically reappears in his hand again. Like, fucking book.
Well, what about if we seek out the person that either you need to give the scroll to, or we can go and speak to report back for duty?
Yeah, I think we're going to have to go and speak to him. He might have a spare ring.
Well, your previous ring is definitely gone.
He'll kind of like point his finger. Fuck you, Micah. Fuck you. Colossal bell end. So is there anybody that would know where that guy is, Dave? I mean, is there anybody that around the castle or the manor?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. You mentioned Wyan. To anyone in Kalaman, they'll be able to tell you that Wyan has an apothecary. So it's Wyan's apothecary in the city itself. It's a well-known establishment. Most people sort of distrust magic, but Wyan's apothecary seems to circumvent this by if you imagine this, if you're walking through like a classic Cotswolds village and you come across a set of shops, there's always one witchcraft shop. So this is that equivalent. It's sort of quirky charms and crystals and incense. Sex potions, yeah, pamphlets of erotica. Yeah, no, it definitely features tie-dye somewhere. But yeah, people can point you towards Wyan's apothecary if you wish to go.
Can I ask one question? Yeah. The various erotica, is it gnome grade?
Yeah, we're likely to bump into the two twats.
I hope to God he was there. It'd be absolutely hilarious. You bought it from.
I'm sure we're going to run into them again.
Gnome Grey's erotica. No. No. I'm going to circumvent the erotica. There won't be any erotica in Wines. Right, so should we head there first then?
Yeah, let's go there.
Yeah.
Okay. Just so I can cover you all, and because sometimes it's an interesting answer. What's Edda been up to? We know what everyone else has been up to. What's Edda been up to for the past few days?
Oh, kind of ducking off, coming back. Kind of that thing you kind of sometimes you like these guys will turn around like I'm there, and then they'll turn, where's Edda gone? And then kind of seemingly out of nowhere he's back again. And you're like,
Okay.
oh, did you vanish? Just that kind of stuff. Just
Right.
always aware of where they are, but getting curious and seeking out trouble. I mean, seeking out what's going.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Okay, so let's set you up for this one. I can give you a view of the city. So let me force this for you to start off with.
Click the long rest button, Dave. I'm assuming we've had a rest at this point, just in case.
Yes, mate. Yeah. No, you're well rested. So you've got the trade gate here. The Voglerites. What did I decide to call them? Voglerians. The people from
Something
Vogler.
like that, yeah.
They're set up sort of around here, around the trade district. Wines Apothecary there. Castle Kalaman right in the centre, and then you've got these two harbour lights, these pre-cataclysm harbour lights there. As you,
Edda's definitely been out to the beacons to have a look.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, that in itself. Sorry, mate. Go on.
Oh no, I just say because that's like if it's pre-cataclysm and curiosity, yeah, it's like wow, that looks cool, and yeah, definitely head out that at some point during these things. This time.
Well, you discover asking around and looking yourself. You manage to get yourself thrown out of both of these places in relative short order, but no one knows how they work. It's one of those lost civilization stories where they just constantly. It's like a security light that they turn on at night time, but there's no obvious source of power. There's no recharging. There's nothing involved. It's a marvel.
Oh, that's definitely something that's going to be like, yeah, I've been thrown out. I'm going to try and get back in again. I need to know now.
Yeah. Well, we could possibly go there in the future. Let's go to Wines Apothecary first. It is as I've suggested to you. It has the look of a witch/hippie shop from the outside. As you step inside, Wines Apothecary smells of licorice and pepper. The modest shop has a few meagre tables displaying good luck charms, odd animal bones and vials advertising various remedies. At the rear of the shop, a human woman with raven hair and a dark dress with feathered wing-like sleeves stands behind a counter heaped with open books. She looks up from her reading, eyes you with disinterest, and she raises an eyebrow as she sees Theron approaching, and then she goes back to reading her book.
The eyes is with disinterest. Have I wandered in yet?
Yeah, you can do.
I'm going to look at these charms. Yeah, I've got one of these. This one don't work.
She'll look up and she'll say, "It's all enchanted. Take what you want. It will return to me."
Oh, that sounds like a challenge.
Theron will kind of look down and go, and he'll pull the scroll out and say, "I was told to bring this to somebody. Wyvern, Ryan, that's his name, Ryan."
She'll glance up, and it's she'll take the scroll. You mean Wyan. I am Wyan. A little bit more respect would be due a junior such as yourself, especially if you wish support for the high sorcery test.
Kind of go, you're not a dude. Or are you? And he'll kind of like stand back, bit of like a karate position.
Astute, obviously. No, I am Wyan. This is my shop, and I am the person that is your gateway to to the knowledge of high sorcery.
I think he'll kind of go, do you have any rings?
She looks you up and down. Yes. Doubt you'll be able to afford them, though.
He'll kind of look around at Edda and go, any money?
Money. Give me a couple of hours to go through my pockets and bags and pouches. I'll see what I can find.
And then take it to the pawn shop.
He'll kind of look back and kind of go, so while he's doing that, what do I need to do?
Well, for now, just answer a few questions. And she opens the scroll and looks through. And then you can tell that she's preparing some kind of arcane ritual of some description as she's looking from the scroll back to you. And it takes there's an uncomfortable pause.
Would I know what kind of ritual she's doing?
You can make an Arcana check if you wish. 21's a good score for your first roll of the night. Yeah, she's trying to ascertain character. So it's an obscure branch of magic, not one that's practiced very often, but it's specific to do with the test. The test of high sorcery splits you into 3 categories: white, red, or black robes. And what she's trying to do while reading the scroll, which is from your the previous lady that tested you, is to divine whether you're best suited for white, red, or black. It's a short-ish ritual, and she rolls the scroll, wraps it up, closes it, and she'll say, interesting. So, Theron, tell me, do you serve your magic, or does your magic serve you?
Theron will kind of think about it for a little bit. And he'll say, at first, and he kind of like has the cheeky grin on his face.
Yeah.
It served me. However, and he'll kind of like go, discovered cooking, and it opened up my mind. So I'd say I now serve it as I would serve others, but not in a gay way.
Okay, well, I wasn't inquiring about your sexuality, but thanks for the information. So, how would, with your art, how do you see yourself changing the world around you?
He'll basically say, he'll go through the whole story about the cooking thing, how he was starving and all that kind of stuff, and he was taught how to cook. And he says, I don't want people to go hungry. And it's different to how Theron normally is. He's quite, that's the point. He's completely changed character. It's like, people will not go hungry.
Oh, nice. Excellent. Oh, I like it. And then she'll say, and finally, if you were to lose your magic, think I know the answer to this from your previous answers. What would you do?
You say, well, that's obvious, isn't it? I'd go and get it back.
Interesting. Well, I assumed you would say you would cook.
Well, I'm not always going to have a campfire. I'm going to cook my stuff, so I need my flames.
Okay. So she thinks about this for a second, and she'll say, no, that does add a... I can see what your previous master was saying. You certainly have an edge. Okay, I understand.
I look around and go, "Edge? You calling me fat?"
She'll say, well, you can read into it what you want. You seem to have disclosed your sexuality. You seem to have taken offence where none was intended, but that is as you see fit. That is not on me. And she'll say, I've heard tell that you have talent, that it needs refining, and I've heard tell that you wish good to your fellow mankind, for fellow humanoids. So I recommend you reluctantly for the white robes. However, red robes would also suit you quite well.
He'll kind of like look around and he'll see Loki and he'll go, "What do you think?" Because he's kind of like sniffing everything. He's walking over all the counters and
Loki's sneezing a lot in this shop.
do that cat thing where they sniff something that they don't like with its tongue.
Yeah.
And I think he'll kind of put the question back and go, how could I do the most good? What would you recommend? He kind of like points it back at her.
She'll say, for those of us that pass the test, the priority is the art, is the continuance of gaining knowledge, power. How we gain it and how we use it is which order you join, whether Solinari, Lunatari, Nuatari. So I have my personal aim is to gain power and knowledge, and I am comfortable in taking power and knowledge, assuming that it doesn't offend overly and doesn't break the law. But your choice is, what would you do to gain power and knowledge? This is something that you don't have to commit to yet. This is a decision that you will undertake during your final test, which I'm pleased to tell you, I am happy to sponsor you to arrange this final test. And I will send to the Tower of High Sorcery in Wayreth Forest. And I will be in touch when they contact me and let you know the time and the place. If you're serious and you wish to commit.
And he'll kind of go, "I am very, very serious." He'll like try and pull like the Zoolander face.
Okay. She'll say, yeah, well, that's, in which case, unless I do know a little bit about you, and she looks over you all now, and she sees Edda. Edda's getting a little bit frustrated in the corner, because you've put the same little glass figurine in your pocket 8 times now, and it's reappeared on the shelf, and it's really, really annoying for you. But how would I'll just take it away from Theron for a second then. I'm going to go straight to Hal, in fact. How would Hal be feeling in a shop like this?
Probably quite out of place, to be fair. There's quite a lot of probably like fineries and strong smells, and it's quite a far distance away from, I guess, like the life that Hal's been living for the last, well, probably like 10 or so years. Like, he's not used to these kind of like strong, pungent smells of like the incense and stuff that's burning, and then, you know, you've got. I think he knows it serves a purpose and understands that Theron needs to do this, but yeah, he's just a bit on edge. He's almost like trying deliberately not to like knock things over with his sword, like in its scabbard. Like, he's almost like being really mindful of his disposition.
A bit like I would be in a lingerie shop if I was there with Sue. It's like, I'm not looking at anything. I'm not looking at anything.
Yeah.
Same question for Micah then. What's
I think more than anything, like, Michael would be kind of like curious about kind of what's going on. And I was thinking as well, when you were kind of describing Ryan doing when she was kind of like doing this ritual, I think Micah would be almost like curious to like where she's getting her power from, because obviously for him, especially when she's like raising the question as well of, you know, like, do you serve your magic or does your magic serve you? I think Micah would kind of, you know, his immediate thought would be, well, I'm, you know, my magic is derivative of Paladine and I'm serving Paladine, therefore I serve my magic. Like, there's no question in my mind about that. But then I guess then the question would turn to like, okay, well, you know, how do you get your power and how are you getting this magic? Because before Paladine, I didn't have that power. So I'd be kind of like, yeah, like very curious and kind of a bit like awestruck of how someone could have that power without someone giving it to them, essentially.
Okay. Did you want to ask then, or because well, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll take you back to Wine then. As she's finishing with Theron, she'll look over you all and she will say, well, unless you have any other business here, and I do know a little bit about you. I do know what is happening in the world, and I can offer you restorative potions. I can offer you a few old relics. I have scrolls that contain ancient divine rituals, which I didn't think anyone would ever be able to use. And for you, Theron, I also have scrolls of arcane nature that you could purchase. I'm not overly well stocked, but you might find some of it useful in the future.
I mean, I'd be interested to see some of those items, but I'm afraid we don't have much in the way of money.
Okay. So she will be able to offer you potions of healing. Will be 50 gold. First level spell scrolls, of which she's got a fair few. So if you said to me you wanted a cure wound spell scroll, you wanted a mage armor spell scroll or something like that, then yeah, she'd perhaps have. I mean, she'd be able to sort of mass produce mage hand spell scrolls, but it depends how many you'd be able to afford. She'd have perhaps 1 or 2 cure wound spell scrolls around, or if there's anything else that you would want, she's quite happy to look in the back to see if she's got anything.
Does the cost of them, does that is there a particular rate, what does she have standard rates, or does it just depend on what spell it is?
Generally speaking, first level spell scroll would be 50 gold as well.
Yeah. Well,
how much have you got between you all?
I've got 10.
got like 15, 14. I mean, if we enter this agreement, then we're going to start getting some money, like some kind of income between us. But right now, I think I'll speak for myself and say that I'm pretty broke. Humble backgrounds.
I've got 37 gold.
Hmm.
See, I'd be interested in a scroll
I've
if
got
you had
lots
it
of
of like that
stuff,
elevated sight. That's a
Yeah,
first
look.
level spell, isn't it?
Which one?
Elevated sight.
I don't know that one. Elevated sight.
I think I can prepare that.
What does it do, Lewis?
If I remember rightly, it kind of like try and find it.
I've got it here. You cast your eyes skyward, granting you sight from a higher vantage point. You project your vision to see through an invisible sensor, which appears in a spot up to 120 feet above you. You can see through the sensor as if you were flying, granting a full 360-degree view from its location. The sensor moves above you, retaining its height in relation to you. You can use a bonus action to adjust the sensor's height, but only to a maximum of 120 feet above you. And then while looking through the sensor, you are blind, but you can switch between the two at any time during your turn.
What is that? That's an item then?
No, elevated sight. It's a spell. It's a first level spell.
Oh.
Thought that'd be quite handy to have, but if you've got it already, is it worth me even getting?
I can. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't have it prepared, but I can prepare it easy enough if it's going to be handy.
I thought something like that'd be handy, but if we've already got it,
I still cannot for the life of me find it on D&D Beyond. But that's, yeah, she would... Elevated sight. I'm spelling it right up. Elevated sight. Where is it from?
Sorry. It's from... HCS. Not sure what that stands for.
Oh, I know what I wanted. Now I've just seen it. Absorb elements.
Oh, okay. Absorb
the
elements
from the Kobold book, or the not Hallerfall. Humblewood.
Yeah, Humblewood.
Oh, okay. Right. Humblewood. Okay. Yeah, absorb elements would be, you should definitely have an absorb elements in, and that would be 50 gold.
I mean, does anybody mind lending me 13 gold?
13.
I can pay you back in cooking.
After the last thing you made for us,
Hey,
I'd rather
the
eat
last
my
thing I made
arse.
you enjoyed.
How much do you need?
13.
30.
13.
13. You need 13 gold.
Yeah.
Oh, here, have 20.
Money bags.
He'll look down at it and go, cheers, mate. And they'll kind of like rummage around and go, have some cheese. And he'll pull some cheese out of his pocket.
Oh, I've already had enough of your cheese.
Pocket cheese.
Cool. Yeah, so, I mean, I'd turn around to say, I'm interested in a absorb elements scroll. Have it.
Yeah, very wise. Yeah, very handy. Very handy in a pinch. And she'll pull it out straight away. She's got one on hand. Definitely got an absorb element scroll on hand.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah. Do you know how to use absorb element?
I do, but not without looking at it.
Yeah. Well, it's just remember it's a reaction, same as your shield spell.
All right, yeah. It can kind of like fire it back, can't you, or something?
You can, mate. Yeah.
Awesome.
And then I think as well, just on that point of her mentioning that she knows what's happening in the world, I think I'd maybe like pull her up on that and just say, you say you're aware of what's going on in the world, but what would you say is happening? There's a lot of tall tales and rumors that have been running around, especially from what we've heard in this town so far. So I'm just curious to know what you've heard.
She'll turn towards you and she'll say, "Well, holy man, war is coming."
And do you believe that I am the man?
I believe in what I see, and I haven't seen you manifest any divine powers. Would you care to?
I suppose. And then again, I'd kind of just standard little ball of light and kind of just actually no, you know what, I'd do some fingers. No, I'd kind of like just manifest a little light.
That's nasty.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she'll say, "Yeah." Clearly, that's you. There's no. You've put no work into that. That's not from study. That is gifted to you by a divine power. You've not, and it's not that she's saying it with a sneer. She's saying it very matter of fact. She'll say, "You've put no work into that." Almost as if she's saying the implication is that we work towards what we've got. You've been gifted that, but you have been gifted that. And she'll say, the gods have returned for a reason. You are evidence of this. I have now witnessed that. So I believe. I haven't seen evidence of the armies, these dragon armies coming. But from what I've heard, war seems to be coming. It seems ridiculous not to prepare for it. And she will hold a small red potion on the counter. In fact, she'll hold 2 on the counter. And she'll say, "One time, bargain. You can have 2 of these for the price of 1. 50 gold.
I'd kind of look around and be like, between us, do we have 50 gold between us? And then I'd kind of like get my gold, like the 14 gold pieces that I have out.
I'll pull my 10 out.
What have you guys been doing?
Not stealing from innocent people.
But offer to make her a meal in exchange.
I'll crack out. How much did you say?
So we've got 24 between us, so we need another 26.
I can give you 50.
So you can just pay for the potions.
It's just sitting in my pocket.
I'm sure he'll acquire 50 back in half the time.
Yeah. So I think it'll bankrupt him.
Well, I mean, when I go through my stuff, I've just been looking. I got an archaeological tool brush. I've got a 25 gold pieces ring. I got that golden fishing rod for pulling up that Benebog fish.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
And then I had like 85 gold pieces worth of stuff.
Like a mini game, isn't it?
It always is. It always is. Just roll a persuasion for me, Lewis, if you're asking the question.
Oh, 14.
Okay. Yeah, no, she will... 14, she'll say, "Well, thank you for the offer, but... quite bluntly.
14.
And I think he'll kind of turn around to her and go, "I'll make you a meal without having the potion." Almost kind of insisting.
Okay.
I reckon
She'll
you need enough 20 for this.
she does. She sort of raises an eyebrow and she'll say, "No."
I think that's a wise choice.
So two potions of healing. Craig is paying 50 gold.
Yeah, I haven't got quite as much stuff now, but I can get more stuff at some point.
You don't. I mean, if you didn't want to put the full 50 in, then I'm still happy to
I was going
contribute.
to say, I've still got
Oh
10.
no, it's fine. It's fine.
Thank you, yeah. Michael kind of like turn and like, thank you, Edda. And then I'll put my gold away.
Right. So who's taking the potions of healing?
Probably makes sense for someone else other than me, because
Let Hal take it because he's most likely to be last man standing.
Well, I'll take one, and then somebody
all
else,
off.
somebody else can take another one. Then, can't they?
yeah, maybe split them. Edda takes one. Edda paid for him. More
Okay.
stuff.
More stuff.
More stuff.
Yeah, in trouble, it'll take me a while to find it in emergency.
Are they the legacy healing potions, or
What's the difference, out of interest?
One taste of blueberries.
as a bonus action you can drink? With legacy, you can as a bonus action you can drink it or administer it to another creature within 5 feet. Does the exact same amount of healing, whereas it's an action in legacy.
Yeah. Okay. No. As long as we're changing. I'm using the 2024 rules for the game itself. So yeah, it's bonus action now to take and give.
Yes.
Okie dokie.
Finally.
Can I make it a full action to give? That's the question.
Can you make it?
Go home.
I am
so
home.
she's Wine will say now. That's our business concluded, then, gentlemen. Good luck. I will be in touch, Theron. If you have further need of potions, I suspect you will. You know my rates.
Do you know of anything else that's been going on in the town, just in terms of anything of interest?
She'll say, I keep myself to myself. Good day to you all.
But you
I
know
just
lots of things. How do you know lots of things if you keep yourself to yourself? That seems contradictory.
Good afternoon to you all.
I need to know how this works. Has it got something to do with your feathered cloak?
she starts to chant as she looks towards Edda.
Theron kind of grabs Edda and goes, "Okay." As Eddie's kind of like charging out the door, he screams at Loki, "Come on!"
I think I'd kind of hastily just like nod my head and just say, "Thank you," and I'm sure you'll be hearing from us again. And then I'll just turn and walk.
Yeah. Just a quick question before we leave. Do you know anywhere I can get a few dinks worked out of my my helmet?
The brothel down the
That's
road.
not a euphemism.
It's everything's a euphemism. Yeah, she'll point you towards the Hammer Strike forges. She will dismissively tell you that there are dwarf siblings that operate the forges. One specialising in arms, and the other specialises in armour. They are most reasonable. But also, you do recall that you are gonna have, as part of your arrangement with the Kalaman forces, you're gonna have run of their inventory, their stock, and there would be a quartermaster that would probably be able to help you sort that for free. So as part of the deal, you can exchange or grab any kit that you want, any weapons or basic equipment, light or medium armor, no heavy armor, but would be able to sort you out. But if you wanted anything special, then the hammer strike forges.
I think it's literally just a matter of, like, I mean, like, Hal's a pretty big dude. Like, so I think, like, he's quite happy with his armor that he's got at the moment. I think it's literally just a matter of, like, his bucket helms took a few dinks in the few fights that we've had so far, and it almost could just do with a bit of a reshape up, so it still fits nicely on his noggin.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, so you can still get it off after you've.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Had it bashed in a few times.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, it'd be cool to go to the hammer strike forges if everyone's down for that.
Yeah, I mean,
As long as they're not as rude as that, Ben, we just dropped 70 gold coins on her, and she just was just rude and obnoxious at the end.
Did she not give you enough information, Edda? Did she not tell you enough stories?
No, she didn't.
Did you
It was
manage
rude.
to acquire anything from her
No,
shop?
I'm quite grumpy about that.
What do you mean you didn't manage to look after anything?
There was nothing that was obviously worth looking after. It was well looked after already.
How so? You always tell
Well, I
us
just
you're the
didn't-
best at looking after things.
Well, I know. It's why I need to go back there at some point. There's unfinished business now.
There's a score to settle.
You just can't leave stuff lying around like that and not expect somebody to walk away with it. Not on.
What did you walk away with?
Nothing.
At that point, when Hal's kind of asked the question and you said nothing, he's just going to, like, walk off, like, giggling. Like, almost like he set you up for that one.
You walk away as a shit shop anyway.
So
A
off
bit
to
of an
the
anecdote. Screw
hammer
you guys,
strike
don't
forges.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, Lou. Were you going to say something?
No, it's fine.
So it's I told you a lie. They're dwarf cousins, and as you make approach to the hammer strike forges, you can hear clang, clang, clang from a good distance away. Approaching lunchtime now. We'll say on this particular day, even though Wine said good afternoon to you. Have you ever seen Spirited, the film, the one with Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds? Oh, it's well worth it. It's the best Christmas film. It's probably as good as Elf, if not better than Elf. But they use "good afternoon" as a Dickensian swear word. Good afternoon to you, sir. So anyway, as you approach, you hear these clangs, and you start to see more of a military presence, and you recognise some of the soldiers that you've seen around Castle Kalaman. In fact, you recognise some of the quartermasters, some of the people that supply the arms and armour for the military, and it looks as if the forges are in overdrive as they're mass producing arms and armour. But one side you can see it's two dwarves, clearly mountain dwarves. They look virtually the same. Very difficult to tell them apart. Big brown, scruffy beards, leather vests, arms as thick as tree trunks. Both concentrating. One's making spears and swords, the other one's making breastplates and helmets and shields. Yeah, what do you want to do?
I think, to be fair, Hal's gonna just kind of like take a steady stroll in, and probably just have a like really good look at what they're doing. I guess like eyeing up how they're forging shit, like the craft, like the work that's actually going into it.
Okay. So, I mean, from a military background, you would. I can't really think of a role to ask for this. It would just be obvious that there is high quality items on the shelves. There are exquisite pieces of arms and armor both sides of the street, but what seems to be happening at the minute is they are concentrating less on form and more on function, and they are banging out arms and armor that's serviceable as fast as they can.
I think from Hal's perspective, he'd have like a massive admiration for the, I guess, like the more pristine pieces, because I think he'd see it as like, well, he might have never seen armor like of its sort. Like I think what from Hal's experience, it's been quite rough and rugged and functional, like, but also has a big admiration for the fact that the dwarves are working on very functional pieces. And I think he'd probably just kind of turn around and he'd be like, this work here, it's incredible.
So are we going to be addressing the armor or the arms?
Are they like on complete like opposite sides of the street,
Opposite
or are they
side.
kind of?
Well, no, we can have them together then. So as they're they do operate on different sides of the street, but you can. We'll say that one has popped over to the other one to grab some more iron or something as you ask your question. And in a sort of a broad Scottish, all dwarfs are Scottish. I won't. It is what it is. And they'll say, "Aye, laddies. Thank you for the compliment. What can we do for you?" As they carry on banging it out. You do you do notice, if we're in the armor section, that there is work for a Knight of Solamnia in the corner. It's right in the corner, and it's a suit of plate armor that, specifically engraved with the Kingfisher and the Rose of the Knights of Solamnia.
So I think like Hal would say like that piece of armor in the corner is exquisite. You must have spent significant time making that.
That's actually a hand-me-down. This was from our father's father. It was commissioned for one of, and he sort of looks you over and he'll say, for a Knight of Solamnia, but they never got around to paying it. Yours for 1,500 gold.
I think Hal would kind of like look down at the floor and he'd probably look back at him and he'd say, the gold that I have in my purse would just be a mocking offer for such work like that. I'm a man of modest means. I can't afford that, but maybe you can help me fix what I have already.
Aye, laddie. Let's see. Let's have a look.
So I think Hal's going to unclip his bucket helm from his like his belt, and he's going to show him it, and it's got like quite a big it's got several big scratches down it from where it's deflected sword slashes, and then it's got a good few dinks in it, and it's going to be like, I just to make it a bit more comfortable, can you hammer out the dinks and maybe just give her a bit of a polish up?
No problem. He sort of looks over you and he'll say,
the armor that you're looking at, is it like hung up? What's its location?
So it'd be on an armor stand. So wooden support, wooden base, support with all of the pieces individually pressed onto it. Helm, breastplate, pauldrons, greave, the whole works. And it would be sort of elevated It's been positioned on purpose so the light of the forge is catching it, but it's not. It's clean. It's not covered in dust. It's well cared for, well oiled, well maintained. It's and it's also very, very obviously placed to be seen and
It's
remain
old
seen.
Down then.
An old and hand me down.
Yeah, well, I mean, as this story goes, a Knight of Solamnia commissioned it, but never got around to something happened, and they never got around to actually paying for it.
I might wander over and just start taking bits off.
Okay, so
I'm not even going to be sneaky about it. I'm just going over and taking it off and start thinking I'll just hand this to Hal. Because my thinking of the Kender is, well, the person, this is old, so no one is still alive to want or need this.
Okay, right. So to this, one of the cousins, they sort of identify themselves as Cadmos and Tyria Hammerstrike, and it would be Tyria who's visiting, who sees this happening, and he sees it, he watches you, and the rest of you can see this happening as Hal's talking to Cadmos. He watches Edda go over to, you take the one shoulder guard off and one pauldron off, and wander over to Hal talking. So Tyria, as you're talking to Cadmos, will just tap Hal on the shoulder and say,
"What do you mean?"
Gesture to Edda's passed you this pauldron. You've taken it off Edda, and Tyria's now going, "Give it back, please."
I think Hal would give it straight back. Hal would be like,
"Yeah." I thought, yeah.
If it'd be very much like,
what are you doing?
Well, we can't
Put that off there.
We can't just go around. We can't just go around looking after other people's armor, Edda.
But there's no one. It doesn't belong to anybody. They're long dead.
I think Theron will kind of patch in as well at this point and go, it doesn't look all that anyway, to be honest with you.
There's a shock of an intake of breath as Cadmos looks around, and as Cadmos looks around now, he said, wait a minute, I've heard of you four. You're the four that rescued the Vogler, the town.
Yeah, well, by save the town, if you mean help the people evacuate while the town was destroyed, then yes, we were part of that.
And I understand you're going to be working for our side.
We have made an agreement with the ruling classes of Kalaman that we would support in the defense of the city, and if they allowed the people of Vogler to settle here and seek aid.
Okay. So he'll take your helmet from you while he's doing all this, and with practice precision, he'll start sort of tapping away gently, getting rid of all of the everything that you've asked him to do, and he'll say, well, any business you need, because you have those little chits, those sort of badges that you've been presented, and he'll perhaps spot Micah's. I don't know if it'll be prominent, but and he'll say, well, any equipment that you need, you can come and fetch. It is approaching a time of war, which is why we're making all of these. So anything you guys need, specialist items like these, and he turns towards Theron, these exquisite works, thank you very much, you will have to pay for. We can't run a charity, but Governor Miat is a good man, and Marshal Vendry is a very competent leader, and they've commissioned us to offer their armed forces anything that they need. So, of note, gentlemen, I suppose if you're conducting operations for our side. If you do happen to come across any arms and armour from the enemy, if you wish to exchange them, we can keep a tab. We can maybe in the future this exquisite piece of armour could be yours. We could exchange a certain amount of old scraps of steel for it.
Theron is still kind of looking at it going, you didn't make it then?
Our ancestors made it, I believe. Was it our granddad? Was it granddad? Was it granddad Gorthax? Yes, it was granddad Gorthax.
If you want, I can identify it for you and tell you exactly what it is and all that kind of stuff. Because to me, it just looks like a bog standard of armour.
It's
almost kind of like doing it to provoke them.
Okay, right, okay, yeah. Well, you're doing that quite well, and he'll say, "There's no enchantment on it. We know that already. It's just an exquisite piece of ornamental."
Couldn't make anything better then. Had to hang up Granddaddy's, did you?
Ornamental armor? Does that mean it's not very good in a fight?
Right, out. I am at this point. I'm going to see that through. So they were being quite quite chatty to start off with, convivial until you've offended their ancestor and their trade. But they're going to insist that Theron and Edda leave the premises. Cadmos is actually going to grab hold of Edda by the scruff and say, until you behave, until you've learned manners, leave.
Manners? I've been... Manners? Manners?
It's always fucking you two, isn't it?
We went into 2 shops today, and for some bizarre reason, the end always ends up with the people being rude. What is going on here?
Well, when you say rude, it goes as rude as you're thrown into the other side of the street. And they'll say to them, "You, laddie, out." And they'll pass the helmet. They've completed the work for you back to Hal, and they'll say, "We'll see you again, I'm sure."
How much do I owe you for this service?
This is on us.
Well, with my friend's manner, shall we say, at least let me pay you something for your work. I apologise.
Your apology is all we need. We've met their type before. We've met your type before. Don't worry, we'll see you again.
I think Hal would just offer his arm out to shake both of their hands, and he'd say I look forward to seeing you again in the future and seeing more of your works.
Yeah, they'll shake your hand. And they will both say, and it's as they say it to Hal, they turn to Micah as well, and they'll say, Reorx will bless your endeavours, and to you as well, First Prophet.
Thank you. Thank you for all that you're doing.
I like I like the idea that Edda might have been able to look after one of their favourite hammers.
I thought you might have somehow roll sleight of hand, because they would have been watching you.
Yeah, I guess.
What are they both? Veteran.
21.
Okay. 20. Oh, fucking hell, Craig. I'm just going to double check. I've rolled an 11. I'm just going to check their veterans. I'm pretty sure that their wisdom modifier isn't plus 10. It's not. Yeah. So you can, with a 21, you can have You can have a couple of sort of throwing knives if you wish. Oh, actually, no, you were in the armor bit, weren't you? So
Yeah.
you could have. What could we possibly say from the armor bit? You could definitely have one of their hammers. Possibly some
their
tongs
favourite
as
hammers.
well. We have.
Yeah.
Should we have a tongue? Yeah.
Just make a note that it's from the dwarf fort. What was their surnames again? Hammerstrike.
Hammerstrike.
Oh,
I mean, I think as Hal walks out of the armory and sees Theron and Edda in the street, he's almost just gonna like clip them both round the ears, like simultaneously. He's be like, "You pair are gonna get us into fucking trouble yet again."
I didn't do anything wrong. I don't know what the problem is.
I just wanted him to make you some better armor and throw that piece of shit out, and he wouldn't let me do it, would he? Because he's got my shit.
There's no one alive who owns that armor, and he said it was ornamental. I just asked, does that mean it's not very good in a fight? Why is that a problem?
They're dwarven smiths. They're well renowned for their skills with a forge.
But their job's boring. It's the same thing day in, day out. Bang, bang, bang.
Yes, but they understand the intricacies of the metal, how it all shapes together, and how it can be
God,
made
you're boring as
stronger.
well. I'm walking out. Yeah, I'm not saying that. I just walk off because it's like it's just one of those things that it's just like halfling tender eyes glaze over with the explanation. It's like, yeah, no. So I just stop listening and wander off.
Hal's just going to shake his head, and he's going to look back at Micah, and he's going to be like, "What are we going to do with them?"
We've put up with them for this long. I'm not sure there's any changing them.
Probably not.
I do find that I think Edda is going to start finding Theron quite interesting because it is quite an adventurous pathway he follows with his conversations and stuff, winding people up. It's like, oh, let's see where this goes.
You've not met me in real life, Craig.
So, is there anywhere else we need to go next? I think Hal's going to look at Micah. Do you need to speak to anybody in the city other than, or do we go and speak with the?
I don't think so. No.
What are the two? Because there's Marshal Vandred, is it?
Marshal Vendry, yeah, she's the military leader. There's
And then
Governor Miat is in charge, and then you've got all of the other guild leaders. So the governor's the head of the government, Governor Kalof Miat. There are 5 other council members, so the Cartographers Guild, Dockhands, Fishers, Masons, and Shipwrights Guild. You've met all these people, but it was only really Governor Miat and Vendry that you've spoken to.
I think Theron will kind of like everybody go, oh, it's his lunchtime.
So
something's always cracking off in the tavern. Let's just go to a tavern.
Well, something's always cracking up in the tavern, and can wait till later.
shall we go and see Governor Miat and Marshal Vandred?
Yeah.
As we were, I think we were under instruction to report back to them, weren't we? After we'd sorted out what we needed to sort out.
I think so.
Yeah. Okay. So off to Castle Kalaman is where you were told to report to again. So it's Castle Kalaman itself, if you recall, is on the top of a rise, on the top of quite a steep. Well, it's almost like a cliff overlook. That's the what's the image? The campaign image. If you see Castle Kalaman itself on this sort of rocky outcropping, this massive hill. And you're expected. The guards that you met before, they just happen to be the same watch that you met on the way through, and they'll wave you through. So it's good to see you again. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for what you're doing. We're stationed here, so we don't get a chance to go into the field very much. But yeah, by reports, we're lucky to have you. Just come on through. And they wave you straight through. You're shown to the second floor of the castle, straight to Marshal Vendry's office. Now, Edda has actually been inside this office before now when you were discovered and told in short order to leave. But for the rest of you, you see that Marshal Vendry's office it's a spare room. It holds little more than a desk heaped with documents, shelves filled with ruled scrolls, and a board on which is pinned a map of the surrounding province of Nightland. Vendry stands as you enter. Very prim and proper, straight-backed woman. Will say, "Thank you for coming, gentlemen. I won't mince words. We are in dark times. The dangers that I fear are fast approaching. The gates are unknown. Your role, I am hoping, will be to change that. Before I go any further, however, do you have any questions for me?"
Should the dragon army approach Kalaman, or when they approach Kalaman, are the people on the outskirts going to be drawn into the city?
Absolutely, yes. As soon as there's any reports of an approaching army, everyone will be drawn inside. And as you might suspect, any able-bodied men or women will be armed and armoured.
That gives me some sense of relief. As long as the people of Vogler are safe.
Now you mentioned Vogler, I've had an offer from I believe she was the mayor, or is the mayor. She didn't want to be referred to as the mayor anymore. That some of her people signed up as part of the militia. Darrett's currently overseeing them, but they're more than willing to fight, as you gentlemen have. And if war is coming to us, we'll need everyone to contribute.
Many of them have vendettas with the dragon army, and this may give them a chance to settle their score.
We'll give them every opportunity to do so. They've lost. We know they've lost everything. And if it wasn't for you four, they'd have lost their lives as well. So we will give them that opportunity.
That would be brilliant.
You apparently you haven't collected your first week's wages yet. They are waiting for you. I've left them with my clerk outside. So feel free to collect them. I know you haven't provided us with any direct assistance yet, but your presence and what we're going to ask you to do you'll more than earn your wage. What I will say to you, anything that you do manage to find when you're out, that's yours. Contributions towards the Kalaman coffers would be welcome, but we know how these things go, and how Governor Miat and myself are wanting you to operate is very much as a unique group. You have this lieutenancy, and you will ultimately report to us via Darrett, but we suspect that we would get the best out of you if we let you do what you do best.
So
Show forces.
you must have an idea in mind for what you want us to achieve.
I have. First, however, it might be wise for my aides to show you where your quarters that we've requisitioned for you. Darrett he's currently in the courtyard running the Vogler regulars through their paces. As soon as he's finished, I'll tell him to come and join you in your new quarters. Unless you've got any further business.
What happened to Baccharis?
Well, gentlemen, I'm sure we'll meet again. But if we don't, I wish you good fortune. And she'll sort of press some kind of bell or buzzer or something, and her aide will walk through and say, "This way, gentlemen, your quarters. You're on the 4th floor. If you wish to follow me."
So look kind of snigger, I think, as he's walking out. Going, "No more."
So the A's, young chap, perhaps early 20s, very neat, very prim and proper. Side parting. No, we'll give him a centre parting, shall we? Like a very thin, well trimmed moustache. Are you going for it, Josh? Josh has gone for it. Yeah, no, you're far too rugged for this gentleman. And he'll explain a little bit about Castle Kalaman. Most of it you know anyway, because it's a pre-cataclysm building. The whole city itself withstood the cataclysm. But he'll say to you that the first floor is mostly the city council. Second floor is the military command, which is where you are at the minute, and it will take you through to the 3rd floor, which is where the castle guard is mostly lodged. And he'll point out to you that Darrett also has his offices here and his digs. The 4th floor and tower is mostly abandoned. But he will say it has been one of the ballrooms that hasn't been used for years has been requisitioned specifically for your use. So that you can set out your gear equipment. It will be guarded and locked. He'll pass you a key to the door. Only you and Marshal Vendry have these keys, so everything that you leave in here will be secure. And he'll also tell you about the basement, which is it's now used for storage. It used to be used to have dungeons underneath a series of sort of ruined dungeons that are now sealed long ago. In fact, there's only records of them. No one's ever been because it's all bricked over. But as he opens the room to your digs, it was once a small ballroom. A row of pillars sculpted with knotwork and images of knights support a vaulted ceiling. Light shines into the room through tall windows facing the mountains to the south. One corner of the hall holds a collection of plain cots and empty chests, and nearby stands a large wooden table. This aide will pass the key to Micah, and he'll turn towards Hal, and almost conspiratorially for you four, he'll say, Marshal Vendry thought you'd enjoy the view, all of you, and for you, sir, she thought you'd enjoy the fact that this used to be a ballroom for representatives of the Knights of Solamnia. And you can see now on the wall there's all these knights, sculpted and paintings of knights and in their formal dress. He curtly bows and he'll say, "Take your leave. You all have a chest. All of the chests has a key inserted already. So please feel free." He's desperately trying not to look at Edda as he says, "Please feel free to leave your items securely in your own room. I wish you good fortune."
Good fortune.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So he nicks off. So this is your digs. This is your briefing room. So it's got a table there. There's like an easel with a map of the surrounding areas. It's quite a large map. Oddly enough, almost identical to this map that you've already seen. So you're aware, Kalaman, this is where you were, this is where the Vogel was. The Barb, which was Theron's first test, was over there. These are the areas, Estwild to the east, these are the areas of Nightland itself, and you have most of the northern wastes on this map, with the Vingard River passing through. What time are we? So, as you're getting ready, stowing your equipment, picking out your bunks and making sure you've got your own area secured, Darrett will poke his head through the door. It looks as if there's a bit of a sheen of sweat on his brow as he'll say, "All right, gentlemen, settling in, all right."
Isn't it? Theron's like kind of kicking back on one of the beds with his shoes on.
Yeah, no, it's all right. I think we've done well for ourselves. Mine's I've got a decent office. They're keeping me busy.
Where's your bed?
Third floor. One down from you. It's only room for one, but thanks for the offer, Theron. He'll say, I've just been with the Vogler. They're calling us calling them the Vogler regulars. They're very angry, but they're channeling that anger into training. I think we're going to have a decent unit.
Are they still out training in the courtyard?
They've just returned. Well, I've just finished with them. They're just on the way back to. Sorry, I hadn't thought that you'd want to see them. I've put them through the paces. They're pretty exhausted, but
the question is, have they put you through your paces?
When you say they, Vendry has. Excuse me, Marshal Vendry. I should get used to the formalities of command now that we are lieutenants in the commissioned lieutenants in the Vogler, in the Kalaman army. She the day that we arrived, when you guys left, she pulled me back, and we sparred. We sparred for 2 hours. Even Becklin herself wouldn't have managed such a feat. She's a formidable woman. I'd like to think that I impressed her. She's certainly decided to give me a fair amount of responsibility. But yeah, I think we're doing all right. I think we've landed on our feet here so far.
I think we have.
Yeah.
At least we're safe.
So far. Speaking of which, I do have your first mission. If you're ready to go.
Leave now?
No, it'll be tomorrow's fine. But It should be an interesting one. It's nothing too heavy to start off with. With our story, as it unfolded, the higher ups in Kalaman were interested in the device, this dragon machine that was on the wharf, if you recall it. I mean, you guys used it to great effect.
But it's now in the bottom of the Vingard River.
Yeah. Well, she'll say because mechanical devices aren't things that we're used to, but there is further to the south. There's a gnome that lives as a little bit of a recluse by the name of Tatina Ruckledust. She, she's a typical gnome. She's very enthusiastic, is how she's been described to me. What Vendry would like you to do is to travel south, ask her about this device to see if she'd know anything about it, and they've also offered her sanctuary, and they've requested her to consult on any further technological occurrences in the war, if you think you can handle that.
Well, we've agreed our service, haven't we, gents?
Sounds like as easy a start as we're going to get.
Sounds boring as fuck. Parents gonna like this.
I suppose you could say that.
Well, I mean, after what we've all been through, I think we've still not heard reports of any. There's certainly been no approach. We've had scouts around Vogler reporting that the Dragon Army forces are still there; they've not moved. But there haven't been any other reports of Dragon Army forces around. So you've earned this. It should just be a simple conversation. Ask her what she knows. Ask her if she wants to join us, and then it should take you less than perhaps half a day's travel to get there. Half a day's travel back. We'll see you day after tomorrow. If you, I mean, you don't even have to leave tomorrow. It's not one of those. It's not an urgent thing, but I suspect the sooner it's done, the sooner you will be able to help us with more meatier tasks, shall we say?
I think the sooner we leave, the better.
Agreed.
Well, I'll leave it with you then. I'll be about. Anything you need. You know what they've already said to you. You all have 5 gold wage, by the way. You'd have picked that up on the way through. As time goes on, it's a weekly 5 gold wage. So feel free to remind me that I haven't paid you if we go forwards.
Okay. So in terms of like roughly what time of the day is it at the moment?
With everything that you've done so far in this one day, it could easily be approaching tea time ish, 5 p.m., 5 o'clock.
Okay.
Oh, tea time. Time for tea.
What, do you want to go now? Are you keen to go?
I mean, I guess from Hal's perspective, there's no kind of like harm getting on the road, but then obviously it means we're camping out overnight. We've just got to prep for a bit of a night mission, I guess.
Yeah, that's not a problem. Darek can see you. Yeah. Sorry, Jake. Yeah. Go on.
No, so like I think Hal would put it out to everybody else. I think Hal's not gonna make that decision on his own. He'll just be like, so what do you want to do, fellas? Do we leave tonight and start on the road, or do we leave first light?
Theron's already asleep. You've left him alone too long.
Well, I think that answers that question then.
Edda appears and says, "So what did I miss?"
Well, Darrett was just saying that we've got our first mission. We need to go and find a gnome.
And Darrett now is going.
Gnome. Oh, gnomes are brilliant.
Edda, where have you been?
I've just been wandering around. I got bored in here in the same room, so
Have you annoyed anyone?
No, pardon?
Have you annoyed anyone?
No, nobody saw me. I was just wandering around, minding my own business.
All right.
There's some cool looking doors.
What's he wearing, Dave? Darrett?
He now. It's a very good question, actually, Lewis. I don't know. Bear with me. He has his plate armor on.
With the penis on?
Does it remind me?
You know, remember I kept like doing it so it looked like he had a bit of a smudge in the shape of a penis. I kept casting prestidigitation on it, didn't I?
Oh, that was right, yeah.
Well, I'd like to.
No, it does fade off, but I'd be happy to cast it again.
I'm sure you would. Right, let me give you this image then, because it's a nice one. It might take a while. This is a picture from like 3 chapters time of Darrett, but it's in the book, so I'll give it to you. Let me know when it's loaded. So he's got his full Knight of Solamnia armor on, the armor that Becklin gave to him, and he's also holding Becklin's helmet as well, and he seems to have appropriated it himself. It's mostly blue that he's wearing. You could tell that he's managed to blend the Kalaman uniform, and it's similar to almost exactly the same as you were saying with Hal. Jake is clearly associated with both.
It's a massive sword, and that's not a euphemism.
Yeah, I believe it is a 2-handed sword for Darrett as well. I don't think he uses a shield. I think it is a 2-handed sword.
He was using a 2-handed sword in the fight when we were defending Vogler.
Yeah. Well, that's strictly speaking, a great sword should be as tall as him. So that's probably only a long sword that he's got there. Sorry, Jake.
Oh, so like I guess like if we're not heading out, I think Hal would look at Darrett and he'd be like, "Have you got a bit more time to go down to the sparring yard?"
He'll say, "For you, Sir Hal, always."
But no.
yeah, go fuck yourself. Your cunt of a mate keeps drawing a knob on my back.
Well, you've summed him up appropriately.
He'll say, anyone else?
Not this time, I'm afraid. I have some other matters to attend to.
Okay. Yeah, he'll go and have a spar with you. Did you want a proper spar? Do you want to roll some dice against Darrett, or should we just?
Wherever the story takes us, Dave. Wherever the story takes us.
Wherever the story takes us. Well, you're still kind of his superior. So at this point, you know what we'll do is we'll have a game of rollies. I'm going to apply. I'm going to roll. We're each going to roll a d20, and at this point, you're going to add 5, and he's just going to have a flat roll. He rolls 10.
I rolled 8.
He takes you for the first time since you've sparred against him. So it's only just as well. And you could see him sort of look amazed, and he'll say, "Oh, I wasn't expecting that. You holding back?"
Definitely not. And then I think like Hal would like, because like Hal's like sparring, but he's like, because I imagine they're just using training swords, and it's like he's not using his shield or anything, so he's like, and then he's just going to kind of like lunge in again to see if he can catch him off guard.
Okay, so let's go for we'll say this is the final round then. So same rules. He's rolled 12.
That's a 19.
Yeah. So what happens this time then?
So I think like I think Darrett's caught Hal a bit unexpected on the first one and kind of just like pipped him to it and like put a strike on Hal. So Hal's going to kind of like lunge back in, and then he's just going to like almost go into quite a rhythmic flash of like, or clash of the blades, and then the next thing you know is he almost like slips out of it and then like just clatters Darrett around his back with the flat of the wooden sword.
Nice.
And it'd almost be like, you know, like you thought you got me there, but I could still show you.
Yeah, he bows and he'll say, that's it. I can't do anymore. I've been training all day. Well,
and it's definitely, and Howard kind of like nod to it, and he'd be like, it's definitely been put to good use.
Oh, this, yeah, we're going to need it. We're going to need this training. We're going to need this, everything that we can do to win this fight. Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, I should imagine, knowing you, Hal, you'll set off first thing in the morning, so I'll probably bump into you again. But yeah, come and spar with me again when you get back.
I will, and I need to see all the hard work that you're doing with the Bogler militia.
Yeah, well, I mean, hopefully next time you can get involved. We can run them through their paces themselves. You'll be really impressed, especially Raven. She's, for saying that she'd never raised a sword before we arrived in Kalaman. She's, you'll be impressed.
Hard times breed hard soldiers.
Yeah, they won't let us down.
I agree. And then I think Howard would pat him on the back, and it's a bit like, now and go and get yourself cleaned up, clean your armor, and go and get some sleep.
Yeah. Perhaps you never know. Perhaps I'll get the better of you next time, old man. He sort of sidles off.
Howard's just going to chuckle at him. And then
okay, so where are we? We're only 3 minutes away from 10:30. What time are we taking this to tonight?
I mean, I've not gotten it.
I'm fine.
Keep going.
Let's go a little bit longer then. So we'll take you through the night. You've slept. I mean, I don't think you need to take another long rest. Long rest to shorten your hit dice for your short rest. I don't think that's an issue. But everything, food and provisions are prepared for you for the next day. You're given 4 days worth of rations, sort of just in case. Bed rolls and kit to take with you on the journey south. It should only take you half a day to get to the place is Eskabrook, which is down south, slightly south of Kalaman itself. Where's the big map? Not that one. don't think it's on here, but Escabrook. Just down here, if you can see where the Escabrook area is. So we'll have Tatina Ruckledust's house just about here. So it's across the river, the tributary of the Vingard, just to here. What? Are we all right to leave? I don't want to force the situation too much.
I think that morning, like before we head out, I think Micah would kind of try and rise earlier than the others, and maybe go back to the like the ballroom with the key. And I think I kind of think for the first time he'd try actually like praying and kind of calling out to Paladine.
Okay.
I think with kind of like the uncertainty of like, and I guess like we've got our first orders, but there's a bit of a like lack of direction. I think he'd almost kind of feel somewhat frustrated in that we're not taking action, like more immediate action, like back at kind of, you know, after what's happened in Vogler. So I think he'd kind of like, yeah, like find a quiet place away from everybody and kind of just sit alone with his thoughts and kind of like cast his mind back to kind of like that, well, to like probably to the temple where he'd been living and working before, and then kind of to that night where he like, well, where he saw Paladine for the first time, really, and would just, I guess, just try and call out to them, just kind of say like, I don't think he wouldn't really want to say his name so much. He'd kind of just be like, "Can you hear me?" and trust that he's either listening or watching or not.
Okay. So yeah, so you because this ballroom is your digs, so it's but there can we can partition it, so you can have like a sleeping area where you've all got your bunks and your chests, but we can have an area in the corner that seems to be an old yeah, we can even sort of say there's an altar there, sort of slightly partitioned. So you go through the motions and, as you say, pray for the first time. What I would ask you to do then is roll percentage dice for me, Josh.
Okie dokie. $32.
Okay. So, as you think back to your time in the temple, in your home village, you think back to times when you've been alone and times when your mind has emptied and peace has entered your whole existence. And you've always passed it off as either just sort of like a meditative state, just a happiness of well-being, just general, you know, I'm alive. Everything in the whole cosmos could be a lot worse. There's always someone worse off. And you've associated it with an inner peace. And you now realise that this was Paladine. This was a connection with the gods. And you experience this again. But the first time, it's a direct connection to divinity. And you're able to hold that feeling for slightly longer. And you manifest it yourself. You purposefully manifest this feeling again for the first time. Hold on for it for slightly longer than you would. You're going 10, 20 minutes now, and you can feel it down your spine, and everything is relaxed and calm as your breathing steadies and eases. But then you hear your fellows preparing and getting ready, and you know that the day is beginning. And that's when you cannot push it any further, but you know there is something else there, and you can come back to this state and further this state. But this state and entering into it will also help you with your abilities going forwards as well.
Okay.
So it's finding peace is your way forwards.
Okay.
Happy with this?
Yeah.
Okay. So everyone else stirs, wakes. I should imagine Hal's very much a lunge person first thing in the morning.
Yeah, he's like,
So Theron would be a bacon and eggs person first thing in the morning.
Theron's being smothered by Loki sleeping on his face. He's gonna wake up going. The cat gets plugged off.
So both of you are coughing up furballs first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
And Ed is looking through what you've managed to what's happened to have fallen into your pouches the previous day. So any other preparation before we set off?
I think bar from like whilst everyone else is doing their bits and pieces, I think Hal would just be like sharpening up his sword, making sure everything's like prepped and strapped and
Yeah, everything's ready. Everything is what it is. Okay, let's involve Governor Miat on your way out ever so briefly. It is early doors. It's dawn. Hal, and if you'll forgive me, Jake, I'd like to think that Hal would be the type of person that's right. It's time to go. It's daylight now. Right, we're going. And as it is first light, you would expect most of the castle to be asleep. There are guards about on guard duty, standing to attention. But you do see Governor Miat and his aide, and they're walking. In fact, he's got 3 aides walking behind him, and they're all taking notes. One of them is reminding him of business that he's got today, as he sees you in the courtyard as you're preparing to leave, and he'll sort of hold a hand up to his aides as he walks over to you. So you can tell he's giving distance. So it's just you and Governor Miat as he approaches, and he'll say, "Oh, good morning, gentlemen. I had no idea that anyone else was so prepared as to be up this time in the morning. I'm glad I bumped into you. I just wanted to explain the situation with our mutual friend from the other day, Lord Baccharis."
I mean, Lord Baccharis is a quite the character. I'd probably refer to him maybe more as an acquaintance than mutual friend, but
Diplomatically said, Sir Hal, the emphasis is obvious. He is a lord. That none of us can do anything about this, and I would not want to say anything unnecessary regarding anyone at this time of war. But I would ask you all to be careful, because he is a lord. And he looks at all of you individually, and he's not singling anyone out, and he'll just say, I do not give him the opportunity. Do not force my hand. Please, what you're doing for us is incredible. please don't force my hand. If it
We
comes,
shall be
that's all I ask. That's all I ask.
We shall be respectful whilst we're within the city walls. If him or his son come looking for challenge, we will try and avoid it. But it's safe to say that Bakaris the younger has more of an ego than his father.
Okay, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say anything that I'll regret later. Marshal Vendry and I, just so you know, I will go as far as to say I would like us to think that we are on the same page as you on this matter. But we have to respect everything that I've just said to you.
I think Hal will just nod.
Okay, he'll say, "I listen. I can't hang around. I know. I believe you're about to go on your first outing on our behalf. Yeah, I wish you well. I'll see you when you get back."
We shall see you on our return.
Okay. So let's take you outside then. So the city guards wave you through. Most of them now. Go on, mate.
I guess before we leave Mayor, not Mayor. He's Mayor, isn't it? Is he a Mayor?
Governor Miat.
The Governor Miat. But would there be? I guess Hal would ask him. Have you got any kind of? Have you got any horses so we could make haste?
Yeah. Well, we'll include horses into the whole situation if that's easier, Jake.
Oh, no, it wasn't necessarily for that side of things. I think like how he's genuinely thinking about it from a practicality perspective. If we need to go and meet with this gnome quite quickly, and we need to try and return as expediently as possible, making as much ground is beneficial. So I think Hal would just say, he would turn around and be like, I appreciate everything that we've been given so far. Our room and accommodation is to a high standard. We've been given weapons and clothing, which are very fine, but we could use some form of transport to get us towards our first mission.
Okay. Yeah, he'll say, yeah, I'll see to it. He'll call one of his aides over and he'll say, can we are the horses prepared? And one of the aides will say, yeah, well, the horses are ready. So what he's now that you've asked directly, what he'll say to his aides is, because I believe you're experienced in mounted combat. He'll say, anyone else require anyone else experienced in mounted combat, or is it just Hal Sir Hal that is able to utilise the?
Theron will kind of like nudge Micah and like a girly giggle, mounted.
So he'll say 3 riding horses for the Theron, Edda, and Micah, and see if there's a spare warhorse for Sir Hal.
Hal would just
one of the aides will nip off. Yeah.
Hal would nod his head in appreciation. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. So, what are you going to call this warhorse?
I might have to think about that.
Okay, but yeah, everything's ready for you. So you managed to mount up and make very decent progress. It's a clear enough early autumnal day. Lewis, you had a busy start to the session, but not so much in the second half. Would you roll D4 for me, please? 4. Excellent. So on your way out, you would you stop for lunch, or would you carry on? do you think?
I think it would kind of be probably be Hal, who's been making haste this time. Would wait. What do you say, brother? Shall we stop for lunch?
I imagine so. Yeah, like we need to get there, but at the same time, there's no point killing the horses. Like the horses are going to need a bit of a rest. They're going to need some water.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice.
Imagine Theron having a bit of a meltdown if he didn't.
Yeah, to be fair.
So you make a brief stop to water and feed the horses and yourselves by the next to the river, and as you're sat there, from out of the wilderness, seemingly appearing from absolutely nowhere, a lone Kender appears. Usual top knot, hoopak, pouches all around. He has green jerkin, bright red trousers, and yellow boots. As he's just appeared from literally out of nowhere, but he seems to be whistling, and you can't quite understand how you've not noticed him before. But as he sees you, he gives a sort of jaunty, "Hey, fellow travellers!" Hello, and he sort of saunters up, says, "Oh, hello. The name's Ttrpg." This rings a bell with Edda. You've heard stories your whole life of Uncle Ttrpg. As this Kender will look you all up and down and say, "Oh, you're and he looks over towards Hal and says, "You're a serious-looking fella." And he turns to Edda and he'll say, "Have you seen any dragons? I've heard dragons flying around somewhere to the north. I was just heading over. Have you seen any?"
We've seen dragon people, dragon men. We thought we saw a dragon, but it was a gnomish contraption. And we saw it in Vogler, and it was amazing until we realised it was a gnomish contraption. It was really quite disappointing. But then I wanted to have a look at how it works, but I couldn't get anywhere near it because the dragon people were using it to shoot stuff at us. It was a really, really exciting encounter, man. If you wanted to find some of those, you need to head to Vogler. They're not very friendly, but they're it's a great place to go and see them. And while you're there, you can check out, and he's just going off, reciting everything.
So, because Ttrpg is the same, and he's when there's the briefest pause as Edda takes a breath, Ttrpg starts, and it's, "Wow, dragon men, that sounds amazing. Dragons, yeah. So a mechanical dragon, would you? I've never heard such a." And then as he takes a breath in, Edda starts talking again, and it's holy shit. So
I almost feel like Hal's just going to be like,
Theron's slow chewing on something going.
Micah would have been Micah would have been just like scrambling to like put things away and try and like put that at a place where they couldn't be reached.
So as you start packing away, Ttrpg notices you do this, and it's halfway through one of his rambles, and he'll be saying, "Yeah, dragon, someone told me I'll give you a hand there." And he comes over towards Micah as Edda starts talking again. Roll a perception check for me, please. Josh.
I was half thinking, I was like, to be honest, it's probably not much point in putting anything away because it'd be gone anyway. So I'm going to stop him. Perception. Oh. Yeah, 26.
Okay. So you notice Ttrpg now as he's doing this thing. So he's sort of helping you pack away, and he's saying, "Yeah, no, what you mean with wings?" And you notice that he takes like a your pouch of porridge that you've prepared, or some food stuff, and it goes straight into his pocket instead of helping you pack. And he's about to put your cutlery, a knife that you've used in your meal, into his pouch as well. Did you want to do anything?
I would. I'd take the knife off him. I'd say, you can keep the porridge, but this will need.
Oh yeah, of course it's yours. I was just helping you clean it.
Let me get
the porridge. How did that get there? He'll say, and now at this point, he continues to do this until you eventually, with a 26, you have to be quite firm. Put your hands on both of his shoulders, turn him towards Edda, and push him back, steer him back towards Edda before he eventually stops helping you. But you also come to the conclusion that if left between the two of them, Edda and Trapspringer will continue this conversation for potentially 3 days non-stop.
We just leave them. Should we get some peace and quiet?
It's all well and good, but like, we know how much Edda gets into trouble on his own. Let alone if we throw Trap in the mix.
I think they might end the world before Takesis can.
Yeah, I think on that note, what Hal's gonna do is, I think, like, as we're about to almost get ready to set off again, Hal's gonna hoik Edda up onto the horse, and then he's gonna hoik Trapspringer onto the same horse as Edda, and then he's just gonna slap the rump of the horse.
Okay.
To get the horse to start making progress.
And we're just so deep in conversation. We're just like bashing backwards and forwards. That suddenly Edda notices that the horse. Wow, I didn't know they did it on their own, and just starts talking about. Have you ever ridden a horse, Trapspringer? I didn't think it was great, but this is pretty funky actually. And just start rambling on about that now. Right, the experience of riding a horse.
Nice. I'm gonna take Trapspringer away from you, I'm afraid, gentlemen. I'm gonna say that he's to this as you've done this, encourage the horse to continue south. Trapspringer will, as you slap the horse, he automatically is, or rather, as Ed has started to go through his rhetoric, he'll spin his legs off and go around the other side and say, "Oh, that's not north. Vogler's that way. I've got to go and talk to this dragon and talk to these dragon men. Apparently, I've gone to see you, gentlemen." And it starts whistling as he sort of disappears. But you do notice that as he goes round, perhaps there's a small copse of trees, but as soon as you lose sight of him, the whistling stops and he doesn't appear the other side of the tree. He's just gone. Seems to have.
Is that something you can normally do, Edda?
Well, I've been doing it ever since we've been on this adventure. There's been so many times that you've not seen me go and come back.
I think on that note, Hal would raise his eyebrow, when?
Now that you mention it, you do seem to disappear and just reappear quite often. Where do you go? What happens?
Well, I just wander off.
And
there's things over there that are there's things over there.
That's not just wandering off. He just vanished. He disappeared into thin air.
Where I'm from, that's just wandering off. That's just wandering off.
You Kenders are very strange people.
Not half as strange as you big folk.
So as the conversation continues, you make good progress again for the second half of the journey there. And I'm going to finish the session with a description of where and when you arrive. If that's all right, gentlemen.
Absolutely.
Okay. So, on a hill stands an unusual structure that resembles both a cottage and a metal fortress. The building bristles with steaming pipes and whirring devices, and it is currently under siege. Amid clanging metal contraptions, goblins try to breach the structure, impeded by gadgets that spin, snap, and thrash in the yard. Every few moments, a gnome appears at an open clock face above the door and hooks a new clockwork calamity at the attackers while cackling and yelling insults.
Oh, this looks like my kind of place.
Yeah. It's absolute and utter
Eyes are popping out of my
carnage.
head now. Wow, all the things.
And as you hear this gnome woman shouting insults, you can hear her clearly saying, gnomes in Dragonlance, they have a specific way of speaking. When Wise and Hickman wrote gnome speech, there's no space in between, so it's just one continual long sentence. And I always read it as they have sort of Irish accents, just to add to it amuses me no end. And you can hear now, it can only be Tatina Ruckledus that is this gnome woman, as she's saying, "What do you mean you commissioned me to do a weapon? I'm not a fucking weapon maker. You fucking goblins. You eat this, you motherfucking goblins." There must be at least 10 goblins being harassed by these mechanical doohickeys. And just to the side, you can also see a hobgoblin that appears to be trying to marshal these forces somewhat unsuccessfully. As you approach, what I'm going to say on horseback is the hobgoblin will notice you approach and call for his troops to attack. The only other thing that you note is that they do seem to be wearing uniforms that have become quite familiar to you now. They're black with a red insignia of black and red armor with an insignia of Takesis.
I think Hal's just going to exclaim, or just say loud enough so that the group can hear him, "Bastards!" as he's going to don his bucket helm.
Nice.
Right, Sean Bean.
Bastard. Bastard.
So we'll start next session straight into combat.
I hope it doesn't go
right.
like Sean Bean.
Yeah. Move.
Right. End it there?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.